Praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to the Walter Strong YouTube channel. I'm Walter Strong. If you're new here and you want to find your passion, unlock your potential, discover God's purpose for your life, then I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Today, we're going to talk about three things we need to understand about the power of choice. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, God was speaking to the children of Israel through Moses, and he said to them, I set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore, choose life so that you and your descendants may live. And the word of the Lord is blessed. When God created man, he created man from the dust of the earth. He breathed into him the breath of life, which was his spirit, and man became a living soul. Let me break that down for you. What that simply means is when God made me and you out of his image and his likeness, he created me and you to be free moral agents. He created me and you to be able to have the ability to choose. But when we made decisions to choose, they were always supposed to be in line with his will. But he still gave us the freedom to choose because he didn't clone us. He didn't make us into robots. He didn't make us or beat us into subservient servants. But he gave us human beings with a free will and free moral agents. And so we need to understand that as men and women, as boys and girls. When we don't understand or use the power of choice correctly, we abuse it. The late Dr. Miles Monroe says, when you don't understand the purpose of a thing, you're going to abuse it. And so when you don't understand something, you will abuse it and misuse it, and unfortunately can lose it. When you look at our prisons, from federal to state to county jails, because of individuals, male and females, not understanding the power of choice, they made the wrong choice. They made the wrong decisions that got them locked up behind bars. Individuals, unfortunately, who are out on the street and are homeless sometimes, in most cases, are there because of not understanding and making the wrong choices in life. And so let me share three things about the power of choice that we need to understand, especially in these uncertain times. Number one, God has given us the freedom to be able to choose. And so when you have the freedom to choose, that doesn't mean we use that freedom to our own personal advantage and for our own selfish reasons. But he's given us the freedom to choose so that we are not in bondage to things. We're not in bondage to materialistic items of this world. We're not in bondage to money, because when something has you bound and it takes your freedom or right away to choose, it makes me and you feel threatened. Take, for example, this past election with this coronavirus and COVID-19. There was a concern about, would we be able to vote as Americans in this country safely without being affected by this virus? And this virus was a threat. There was also the threat of political and selfish agendas by people in government who were trying to restrict us and saying, well, if you can't vote in person, then you can't vote by mail or absentee ballot. And we felt threatened. And when we feel that our ability to choose is threatened, then it can affect our life from being able to move forward and to be negative. But as we understand, from a Republican standpoint, over 70 million people voted for the person that they wanted to be president, and over close to 80 million people voted for President-elect Joe Biden. Why? Because we exercise the power of choice, and we wanted to use that freedom without being threatened politically or being threatened from a health standpoint. So it's a freedom we have to take advantage of. We have to value it and cherish it and be able to and have it in our life and using it the way God intended us to choose. Point number two, we need to understand that the power of choice has to be made, or choosing to make decisions has to be made from the right perspective. For you see, when you choose and you make decisions from the wrong perspective, in most cases, we do it because we're doing it from a limited understanding and from a short-term perspective of wanting immediate gratification, wanting something to be fixed right away, wanting a quick fix answer. We live in a society where it's good to have Amazon Prime and get next day delivery. And it's okay to be able to get things faxed and text and email. We're in this quick, fast society. But when our decisions and our choices are made for quick fix remedies, that unfortunately that can come back to bite us in the butt, if you will, and cause us more problems in the long run. And so when you choose, when you exercise the power of choice in your life, you got to do it with the right perspective. Not only the right perspective, you got to do it from God's perspective, seeking God's wisdom, seeking God's counsel, seeking God's knowledge and understanding about, Lord, how am I supposed to make this choice that's before me? You said you set before me life and death, blessings and cursings. God already knows the answer. He wants me and you to choose life in our marriage and choose life in our family and choose life when it comes to our career and choose life when it comes to our family and our children's education, being academically successful. But we have to understand it has to be done with the right perspective. We have the power of choice, but we have to choose with the right perspective. And finally, the third point that I want to leave with you about the power of choice, we need to understand when we choose or make a decision, it comes with consequences. Now, those consequences can be good consequences that are for our betterment and for our benefit, or they can be negative consequences. The bottom line is whatever choice you make, those choices are going to be accompanied with consequences. Consequences that can not only harm you if it's negative, but it can harm others that depend upon you. Consequences that not only harm you, but it can harm people outside of your immediate home and in your community. And so I want to encourage you today, though this may be very practical and simplistic, never underestimate the power of choice. When we begin to underestimate or misuse the power of choice, there are going to be consequences that are unfortunately that's going to affect our society. And look at the biggest choice that we've seen that people have made in government when it comes to the current climate and conditions that we're living in, because they made the choice for their own political agendas and reasons. Our nation now is struggling with the crisis that we are desperately trying to get out of. Why? Because they abuse the power of choice. God doesn't want me and you to make those same mistakes that others. He wants me and you to respect and use the power of choice the way he intended for our lives. And so the question that I have for you today, my brother and sister, is this: how are you using the power of choice in your life, not only to benefit you, but to benefit others that your life touches? Drop down in the comments section and share me your thoughts and your feedback on this question. Also, if this video has added value to your life, I want to encourage you to click the like button and also to share this video on your favorite social media channel on this YouTube channel. Well, that's it for this video. I'm Walter Strong. Always remember, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that will prevail. Make a quality decision today, my brother and sister. Let God's purpose prevail in your life. God bless.